This is the most homophobic grandpa in the world.
You can't put two bolts together and expect to hold anything up.
And I drove 10 hours to meet him. His name is Donald James Parker, and he writes, directs, and stars in some of the worst Christian movies you've never heard of.
Someday it's going to be against the law to say that homosexuality is a sin.
About a year ago, I started making fun of bad movies on TikTok. I got some views here and there, but it wasn't until I found the Gramps character that things really took off. After racking up even more views from reviewing several of these homophobic,
Your homosexual agenda nowadays, it's swaying kids to believe that they're gay.
sexist,
Can I talk to you somewhere private?
I never speak alone with a female.
and downright cringy Christian propaganda movies,
I'm planning on making it to my wedding day as a virgin.
the Gramps character had now become a bona fide meme on my TikTok account.
Those kids are being brainwashed by liberal, secular humanist professors.
To the point where people were actually asking me to go meet this guy. Little did they know I'm actually stupid enough to do exactly that. So we're about to drive to Tennessee. I guess we're gonna meet Gramps today. The drive would take about 10 hours from Cleveland, Ohio to Crossville, Tennessee, the place where Gramps lives. I literally had no idea what to expect, but what I did know was that he wanted to take a hike with me deep in the woods where no one could hear me scream. About halfway into the trip, I thought it would be a good idea to call Gramps and actually talk to him for the first time. Hey, can I call you Donald?
Sure.
I just want to give you a call, man. We're about like 5 hours out. I just wanted to let you know.
I appreciate it.
It's the first time I talked to Gramps. I don't know what I was hoping for, but it's gonna be weird, that's for sure. We were now about 3 hours away and I was getting pretty nervous. Eventually we made it to Crossville around 8 p.m. and it was completely dark. This is where I had to meet Gramps in a parking lot and pick up the keys to the place he'd rented for us. It was super nice of him to do that, but I was sure I was gonna get kidnapped here. Luckily that didn't happen and we went on that hike and talked about all kinds of things. By all kinds of things, I mean Christian propaganda. After finishing the hike, it was time for the interview. Since in all his movies he mentions that he never lets himself be alone with a female,
Oh, I never speak to a female behind closed
Please.
doors.
I decided to leave the room for a couple minutes with my little sister who was running camera, and this is what happened.
Oh, jeez.
Are you okay?
That's right, he darted and ran into a lamp. I'm here with Gramps today, a big-time movie star here in Crossville, Tennessee. I guess let's just begin. Would you like to state your pronouns?
My pronouns.
First off, what do you think of my TikTok?
To be real honest to tell you, I didn't even watch your videos.
You didn't watch a single one?
I did not even listen to them.
Are you surprised with how many views the videos racked up?
Yeah, because you've had more views on your videos about my movies than I've had on my movies.
What first got you into creating Christian movies?
In 2006, I wake up in the middle of the night. I had heard a voice that said, write a book about evolution. The next morning I woke up and I said a prayer. I just said, Lord, did you ask me to write a book about evolution last night? Clear as a bell, this thought goes through my head. It said, and when you're done with that, I want you to go after Harry Potter and the sexual revolution.
What do you think evolution and Harry Potter have to do with each other?
What I discovered after I started working on this is that all these things are roads of deception. Satan's number one goal is to keep us from going to heaven.
Yeah, I think Harry Potter's goal is just to defeat Lord Voldemort, actually. Scarlett, would that be, is that correct?
Yeah.
Harry Potter deals with witchcraft, which is a real thing. Some people, they're like, oh, that's cute stuff. You know, it's like the Halloween, you know, the cute little kids put on these witches' costumes, you know, and go trick or treat.
Do you think there are any redeeming qualities that Harry Potter could teach us?
I never read Harry Potter.
Did you watch the movie?
No, I've never watched the movies.
So your movies are homophobic, they're racist, they're misogynistic, they're anti-science, and above all, they give people explosive diarrhea. So,
Homophobic.
yes, homophobic.
First of all, homophobic. The word phobic means fear of. I have no fear of homosexuality.
What if I put my hand on your knee right now?
I just claim that God, the Bible says that homosexuality is this.
What are your thoughts on mental illness as a whole?
Mental illness, crawling up into a fetal ball, you know, and whimpering. You know, life is tough. I find that having too much sugar will radically mess me up. So some people said that sugar is the most powerful drug on the earth.
I think heroin might be
The
stronger.
rats.
What is the flute totem pole?
My expectations of you are to remain humble, no matter how high on the flute totem pole you rise. The flute totem pole.
One of my favorite lines you mentioned in Gramps' Shoes is, "I didn't quit on you, Scott. I just reached the finish line."
I'm not quitting, Scott. I just reached the finish.
That was the hardest thing in the world. If you want to be realistic, you got to have some phlegm.
You got to
flying through
first
the air.
die. How long does it take you to write a full script?
It's 2 days.
Are you familiar with the term dialogue pass?
No, I'm not.
Do you revise your scripts?
I don't have time for that. One of the criticisms I have of myself, I make every character sound intelligent.
And maybe you need to get a pair of big boy pants and put them on.
I don't have, hey, now, Joe, cool, ha, xia, as Generation Z thing or something like that.
Yeah.
I am a bit of a conspiracy theorist. I think that there are people out there that are milking the human race for financial profit.
I think that's corporate America.
Chemo is big business. And I bring up in that movie that he asked the doctor, he says, do you get a kickback from prescribing chemo?
That's a pretty far-right conspiracy theory that a doctor would get a kickback from chemotherapy.
If that is true, which I've been told it is, if it is, that is heinous. Or heinous. I mean, how can you trust the drug companies when they do something like that? Can you imagine getting a medicine that would kill you?
Could you imagine getting Viagra?
The con men are out there.
I think there are definitely a lot of con men out there. How do you feel about Donald Trump? The whole Access Hollywood tape, the whole talking about women, how you gotta grab them by the...
Locker room talk. Guys talk big. We're not supposed to judge people.
He did it on an interview. It's really easy to not say that while being recorded with Billy Bush.
I lost relationships with relatives over that.
Over grabbing women by the...
Over him making that statement and me supporting Trump. Now when Biden comes in, selling off the reserves that we have so we can lower the price of gas so people will vote for Democratic, that to me is an act of treason.
You said that would be an act of treason. Would not relinquishing the title of president also be considered an act of treason?
This election was stolen. Take a look at this election. It was stolen.
Trump lost by a huge margin to Biden.
Well, he didn't lose by a large margin.
Was it 8 million votes or something?
Well, how many of those votes were invalid?
I don't know. I voted 5 times. Many of your characters say that you won't let yourself be alone with a female.
That's a policy that wise pastors follow because they bring a woman in for counseling. They're in the room together. Next thing you know, they're hooking up. It's just wisdom.
Do you think it's more the pastor's fault?
Men are very, very responsive. Once they get their motor going, it's pretty hard to turn it off.
But don't you think that just in general, men should be able to be alone with a woman and just control that motor?
An ounce of prevention's worth a pound of cure.
That's an actual line from one of your movies.
So an ounce of prevention's worth a pound of cure.
It's Gramps Goes to College. Because right before you say that, you tell the biology teacher to cover up her charms. Yes. And then you put the coat over her.
Wait, what are you doing? I'm hot.
I remember that part.
Yeah, you put the coat over her and you say something like, if you want me to talk to you or look at you or something, you gotta cover up your charms.
You want me to look at you while we're talking?
Well, of course.
Then you have to cover up your charms.
Do you think that it's women's job then to cover up their body just because guys are a little bit too easy to objectify women?
If we're looking at things in a secular sense, if there's no God like that and no punishment, why would we have any restraints?
Well, I think general morality, I think you can have morality without religion, right? You can say, hey, I'm not going to stare at this woman's boobs because it might make her feel uncomfortable. So, I think you can have morality without
those boobs stared at. Maybe she should cover them up.
We got a little bit misogyny.
I didn't even know what that word meant until all of a sudden when the wokeness hit and these people are talking about everything. It's racist, homophobic, misogynistic, and I'm like, holy cow. I didn't know what that meant, but it's something about putting women down. I put women on a pedestal. And a feminist comes along, they would probably slap that label on me because I believe that God created a woman for a certain nurturing role in a family. They're supposed to be a mother at home. Now we flip the switch.
Well, if they're expected to do anything, I think that's a problem, right? If you're expected to do anything, then that's an issue. If I'm expected to be a big, strong, tough man, you know, that's a problem. If they're expected to stay at home, I believe that's a problem. Whatever you want to do, whoever you want to be.
That's one of the things we have to look at. It's not like, what do I want to do? It's what's going to be best for me. I read the other day on the internet, some gal went up into this cliff or something like that. She fell and died. And it's stupid.
Falling and dying off a cliff is stupid and something we can both agree on.
I love women. I think a tight sweater is sexier than a bikini.
What do you think of my tight sweater? If God is all good, then why did I my pants in front of the whole church congregation with the force of 1,000 commercial jet airplanes, causing my entire family to die of embarrassment and now lie at the St. Mary's Cemetery? The gravestone reads, "Here lies the Nolletti family," except for Eric, because he was too busy his pants. Could you please?
Well, that's one that I can somehow relate to. You never know when you're going to have a bout. It's going to attack. And so it's like I go to some church event or something like that and it hits me.
Okay, yeah. Actually, so we're going to wrap it up. Huge thank you to Donald James Parker for letting me talk to him about a whole number of things, including IBS, which, yes, it happens sometimes. That's a difficult situation.